If you're trapped in a place where creepy, lifeless spirits are watching your every move, what would you do? We'll be breaking down the supernatural tale and its horrifying scenes from the movie Insidious. Booyah! We've got an old woman here lurking in the shadows of a seemingly peaceful house. Renee and Josh Lambert, along with their 3 curious kids, have just moved into a new home. Renee is looking at the family pictures with her son Dalton, and he notices something weird. There are no pictures of Josh as a child. Talk about being camera shy. No, but seriously, Dad, no baby pics? But things take a dark turn when Dalton hears strange noises upstairs and decides to investigate, only to find the attic door wide open. Rookie mistake, buddy. The next thing you know, the poor kid takes a tumble from a broken ladder, horrified by something he sees in the darkness. Shaken, but still in one piece, he's put to bed with strict instructions from Renee and Josh. Stay away from that creepy attic. The next day, though, Dalton isn't waking up. His parents take him to the hospital, where even the doctors are scratching their heads in confusion. 3 months pass and there's still no progress. Renee and Josh decide to bring Dalton back home, praying to the movie gods that their house isn't haunted by some dark spirits. Now that would be a real poltergeist party. But things are about to get even spookier. Renee was innocently practicing her piano when suddenly a sound echoes through the baby monitor. But wait, it gets worse. A sinister voice whispers, "There is nothing you can do." Yikes! Sounds like a scene straight out of Scream. Renee's heart starts racing as she realizes something is seriously wrong in her home. What is that sound? Is it a ghost, a demon, or could it be the infamous Jeffrey Dahmer? Alright, it's probably a haunted spirit. So she did what anyone in the movie would do. She reached out and grabbed that baby monitor. In a gruesome voice, the thing said, "I want it now." Renee dropped that monitor in a panic. Can't say I blame her though. If it was me, I'd run for the hills. And who needs cardio when you can get your heart pumping like this? Renee's goosebumps multiply when their youngest son, Foster, mentioned that he doesn't like it when Dalton walks around at night. As the night settles in, Renee and Josh can't shake off the feeling that they're being watched. Suddenly, they hear a loud banging on the door, which sends shivers down their spines. Like the brave soul he is, Josh investigates, only to find nobody. But they know that they're not alone. It's like they've stumbled into their own horror movie or something, where the plot thickens every moment. Renee heads upstairs to check on the baby, only to find nothing, except a shadowy figure standing behind the crib with a loud ringing sound from the piano. Oh, the horror. But phew, false alarm. We're safe for now. Just when you thought the scares were on pause, the house alarm blares like a rock concert gone wrong. Josh stumbles down the stairs, feeling like he's in a twisted sequel to Home Alone. The blaring alarm becomes the soundtrack to his adrenaline-fueled adventure, and he half expects Liam Neeson to burst through the door any moment. But instead, he is greeted by a wide-open door, courtesy of forgetful characters from horror movies. With caution, Josh peers into the darkness, wondering if he's about to become the star of his very own slasher film. Watch out, Josh, don't trip over the plot twist. As if things couldn't get any bloodier, Renee discovers a bloody handprint on Dalton's sheets after the nurse leaves. She immediately spills the beans to Josh, venting her frustration about the absence. That night, Renee is jolted awake from what she thought was a nightmare, only to see shadows of a strange figure moving about the room. And then, lo and behold, a strange figure is inside the house, right there in her room. Cue the screams! As the scream fills the air, Josh rushes to his wife's side, finding her trembling with terror. Their once cozy home has transformed into a living nightmare. At this point, Josh agrees to Renee's brilliant suggestion of moving into another house. Finally! You know, viewers, I stroke my beard as I say this, but young Dalton is the most curious of the kids. But you know what they say, curiosity killed the cat. He sneaks into the attic, falls off a ladder, and just like that finds himself in a coma. And what's even more baffling, brain scans showed no signs of head injury. Talk about a mind-blowing situation. Could it be something else? Let's shift our focus to the unfortunate Lamberts. Their circumstances may not be the absolute worst, but there's certainly no walk in the park. Strange noises echoed through the halls, glimpses of movement teased their peripheral vision, and eerie voices whispered through the baby monitor. Renee became convinced that their house was haunted, and the force behind this haunting was undeniably malevolent. Yeah, that's what everyone says after watching a horror film. But no, she was sure that there's something shady. Doors swung open and windows cracked wide all on their own. It was as if the house became alive. And here's where things get even spookier. We get to see the appearance of a fearsome shadow. Imagine a creature so terrifying it could have been plucked straight out of Hades himself. Now, here's where it takes an unexpected turn. Dan, conveniently enough, decided that staying late at work was the way to go. Ah yes, let's blame the poor man for not caring and attempting to dodge the supernatural drama at home. But we know better. Josh was practically non-existent amidst the chaos. It's as if he was a side character in his own life story. He was so absent, he might as well have been a ghost. His doubt seemed stronger than the force haunting their home, and his involvement was as trivial as Jar Jar Binks in those infamous Star Wars prequels. Even as they packed their bags and bid their haunted house farewell, Josh's skepticism lingered like a stubborn stain. But hey, at least he moved to please his wife, right? As the age-old saying goes, hindsight is 20/20. But our protagonist over here lacked the foresight. If he was around more, he'd see what his wife was talking about. If only he had paid closer attention and kept his eyes peeled like a banana in a Minion movie, perhaps he would have caught on to the spooky stuff happening in his house. It's like one of those classic horror films where the audience is left shouting at the screen, "For the love of God, don't go in there!" Yet the dude failed to look at the signs, and now poor Dalton is in a coma for 3 whole months. Like a game of musical chairs, they make a quick move to different houses. As they're settling into their new home, Renee decides to liven things up with some tunes, but just as she steps outside to take out the trash, bam! A ghostly kid materialized out of thin air and switches the playlist to a bone-chilling old track. Well then, guess he got some good DJ skills. Renee, being the brave soul that she is, takes a few steps forward to investigate the DJ. But before she can even say boo, the mischievous kid vanishes into thin air. Curiosity piqued, she dashes back inside to see what the heck is going on. Guess you can say curiosity runs in the family. Renee bursts into the room, ready to confront the little troublemaker caught red-handed sneaking into Dalton's lair. And with lightning speed, she grabs the ultimate weapon against Ghost, a freaking hockey stick. It's like she's in an epic showdown with Casper gone rogue. Bravery courses through her veins as she approaches the closet, fully prepared for a face-to-face standoff. But just as she dramatically flings open the door, guess what happens? The little rascal decides to pull off the most unexpected escape trick ever. He catapults himself out from the upper compartment, and Renee jumps sky high, her courage momentarily morphing into a mix of shock and fear. Wow, talking about a surprise exit. You can almost hear the ta-da sound effect in the background. Meanwhile, as Josh steps into his humble abode, he's greeted with a sight straight out of a soap opera. His wife, his mom, and a priest are all gathered in the living room. He probably thinks, is it Sunday already? Renee explains the encounter with the dancing child to Josh, but instead of jumping on the paranormal train, he remains skeptical. It's as if he's the star of his own thriller film, waiting for the plot twist to drop on him. Despite the circumstances, Josh decides to keep his cool and get to the bottom of this supernatural mess. And just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder, Josh's mom, Lorraine, starts narrating her strange dream to him. The atmosphere in the room becomes so tense you could cut it with a butter knife. Lorraine describes entering Dalton's room in the dead of night, only to come face to face with a terrifying entity. As any sane person would, she musters up the courage to ask the creepy thing what it wants. And what does it reply with? Brace yourself for a bone-chilling response. It says, Dalton. I don't know about you, but I'll be running away at that point. The gravity of the situation starts sinking in, and fear grips them all. Could this be the sign of something sinister lurking in their midst? And just when they thought it couldn't get worse, Lorraine spots a furious figure glaring at her from behind Josh. Talk about a classic horror movie jump scare. Poor Dalton doesn't catch a break either. He gets brutally attacked in his own bedroom. Inspired by this supernatural chaos, Lorraine decides to reach out to a friend who specializes in all things paranormal. This family is in desperate need of some ghost-busting action. They bring in the psychic extraordinaire known as Elise, but Elise sends over a couple of Ghostbusters who seem straight out of a B-movie. I'm talking Proton packs that look like they're duct taped together in a Slimer encounter that could pass as a comedy sketch. Thank goodness Elise herself arrives soon after, bringing with her some serious backup. She's been there, done that, and has a Paranora t-shirt to prove it. These Ghostbusters are about to learn a lesson in professional hauntings, courtesy of Elise. She discovers with the help of her paranormal investigators, Specs and Tucker, that Dalton, their comatose son, is not simply taking a power nap. Nope. He's been astral projecting like a boss since he was an infant. Talk about nap time on a whole new level. This fearless spirit has been exploring different spiritual realms, thinking they're nothing more than a series of entertaining dreams. Little does he know, he's actually wandered off into a place called The Further, where tormented souls of a deceased hang out. No beach vacations and margaritas here. It's more like eternal torment and a no refund policy. Now, here's where things take a dark turn. These tormented souls see Dalton as their golden ticket to another shot at life. But not everyone is so benevolent in their intentions. Oh no, there's a red-faced demon in the mix, and he's got some seriously evil plans for our dear Dalton. While Dalton's spirit is lost in the supernatural realm, all that's left behind is a lifeless body. Kinda like an Airbnb with no tenant. But for a spirit to possess the body, it needs time and energy. So Elise suggests something a bit unorthodox to save the day. Of course, she needs the family's approval and trust to proceed. But, Josh rejects the idea faster than you can blink. It's a good thing Renee steps in and pleads with him to give Elise and her team a chance. You go, Renee! Eventually, Josh caves when he discovers Dalton's eerie drawings that match the demonic figure Elise described. I mean, it's hard to argue with crayon evidence, after all. With hope in their hearts and a pinch of skepticism in their minds, the Lamberts go on a session to communicate with their lost son. Dalton's body gets possessed by a demon and all hell breaks loose. Literally, as if one demon wasn't enough, a whole gang of malevolent entities join in the chaos. Josh and Renee finally act intelligently, which, no offense, is a rare sight. After a terrifying night in their haunted house, Renee drops the bombshell, "We need to leave," and they actually follow through with it. Now, what happens next is practically unheard of in the realm of horror flicks. Josh and Renee, being the normal, sane people that they are, do something that would make any rational individual proud. They pack their bags and move out. Can you believe it? No more staying put and letting the creepy crawlies have their way with them. They're breaking the norm. The horror doesn't stop there. Nope. Turns out the haunting isn't tied to the house at all. Our dynamic duo seeks help. They consult experts, but not the usual priest with holy water. And now they opt for a psychic extraordinaire named Elise. You know, because nothing says exorcism like a good old psychic connection to Josh's mom, Lorraine. It's like turning the paranormal world on its head and giving it a good shake. Now, it's not just poor little Dalton being haunted because he's an easy target. Oh no, that would be too easy. He's got a unique talent up his sleeve: astral travel. Talk about having a supernatural boarding pass. So while everyone else is fighting over who gets to sit by the window, Dalton is jet-setting through the astral plane. This kid's got skills. But here's the part that will make you facepalm so hard it leaves you with a mark. Josh finally takes a good look at Dalton's drawings and realizes that they're not just cute scribbles. Nope, they're a full-on evidence of the red-faced demon and Dalton's astral projection abilities. It's like watching a detective uncover the clues right under their nose. Except in this case, it's a parent who missed the memo. Classic. See, Josh and Renee, the proud parents, parents constantly brushed off Dalton's eerie sketches as products of an overactive imagination. Who knew that those unsettling figures brought to life on paper held the key to a whole world of bizarre encounters? Not them, that's for sure. If only they had given those drawings a closer look, they would have realized the supernatural abilities hidden within their imaginative child. And if they were serious, they might have been able to save him from going into a coma. Talk about a missed opportunity. But hey, thank goodness for those diagrams, right? They help quench Josh's doubts about Dalton being trapped spiritually. These drawings not only make sense in hindsight, but also strengthen the mind-blowing reveal that Dalton isn't being possessed as we first thought. No, he's being used as a cosmic gateway, an astral portal. It's like playing chess and realizing your pawn has the power of a queen. Mind officially blown. After the session, Elise calls Lorraine and she drops a bombshell on Josh and Renee. Turns out our protagonist, Josh, is no mere mortal. Nope. He's got a power straight out of the pages of a comic book, astral projection, just like Doctor Strange. And if that's not enough to blow your mind, he also had his own share of childhood horrors, much like Harry Potter facing off against Voldemort. It's like they've uncovered an unassuming adventurer, ready to team up and take on the supernatural realm. But Elise has known Josh since he was a sprightly 8-year-old, when she helped him suppress his astral abilities through hypnotic intervention. Why, you ask? Well, to protect him from getting possessed by the spirit of an evil old lady. Talk about a wild ride. Lorraine, being the expert she is, decides to show them some childhood pictures of Josh, and what do they reveal? A shadowy old woman lurking behind him in every frame, just like that creepy presence at the start of the film. And you know what's even creepier? The closer they zoom in on Josh in those pictures, the closer that shadowy figure gets, until she's practically breathing down his neck. No wonder the poor guy has a fear of photos. Now, Elise suggests that it's high time Josh put his astral powers to good use and help bring Dalton's soul back. Usually, we don't willingly venture into that spirit realm, it's the other way around, with spirits barging into our domain. But hey, Josh is breaking all the rules here. Instead of removing a spirit from his son, he needs to pluck Dalton out of the spirit realm. It's like turning the supernatural game on his head. To prepare for this mind-bending astral project, Elise sits Josh in a chair and guides him into a trance. And guess what? When he wakes up, he sees himself snoozing away in the chair alongside the others in the room. No way! It's like a surreal, out-of-body experience. Things get even crazier. Josh steps out into a misty void, determined to find his way to Dalton. Along the way, he encounters a mysterious boy who points him back to a house that happens to be the same one that Lambert's moved out of. Talk about a haunted deja vu. As he ventures on, he stumbles upon a family, but their happy gathering takes a nightmarish turn when a grinning lady opens fire on them in the living room. Startled, Josh makes his way to the attic, where he discovers a red door just like the one drawn in Dalton's pictures. How intriguing. Before Josh can step through the ominous red door, the violent entity Renee witnessed in their daughter's room suddenly shows up and launches an attack. But he survives and enters the door, only to find himself in the Furter, the lair of the red-faced demon. It's a cavernous room bathed in blood, and there he spots a tearful Dalton chained to the floor. Hallelujah! Josh sets his son free, but the demon understands they're here and launches an assault at them. It's a desperate race against time as Josh and Dalton flee, with the relentless demon hot on their heels. But just before our duo wakes up, Josh decides to face off against a shadowy old woman who seems to have taken up residence in their house. He boldly tells her to back off, screaming that he's not afraid. And when you know it, she retreats into the darkness like a defeated villain slinking away. Moments later, both Josh and Dalton are awake, just as all the spirits vanish into thin air. Talk about a timely awakening. Imagine a world where mischievous spirits roam freely, invading our turf and causing all sorts of trouble. It's like that movie where ghosts just couldn't take a hint and leave that poor family alone. I mean, who you gonna call? Those proton pack wielding experts with a catchy theme song? Of course! But sometimes, even they can't handle the supernatural shenanigans. It's enough to make you consider summoning Beetlejuice 3 times just to see if he showed up and sort things out. The struggles of dealing with otherworldly beings. We gotta face them head on and hope for the best. Go Ghostbusting ain't for the faint of heart. Now, let's talk about astral projection. It's one of those concepts that can send shivers down your spine. I mean, people actually believe it's a real thing. But in this horror tale, it takes on a whole new level of terror. We're talking about evil spirits craving a body without a soul. Gives you the heebie-jeebies, doesn't it? And it's hereditary. That's right. This thing passes from father to son like a cursed family heirloom. Talk about a haunting legacy. Josh isn't just a worried dad trying to save his son. He's got his own creepy history to contend with. It's like a twisted version of like father, like son. Despite the vulnerable child at the heart of the story, we discovered that it's not actually Josh's son, Dalton, who's in the spotlight. Nope, it's Josh himself. Elise has known him since he was a mere 8-year-old when she had to step in and hypnotically suppress his astral abilities. Why? To protect him from getting possessed by an evil old hag. Talk about a childhood filled with bizarre encounters. To save his son, Josh reawakens his astral abilities, but in doing so, he also reconnects with his own vulnerable childhood self. It's like a wild journey into the depths of his own haunted past, and it's not a walk in the park. Josh faces the terrifying reality of the situation, yet he never wavers in his love and concern for his son's well-being. It's a heartwarming display of parental courage in the face of spine-chilling uncertainty. Josh, armed with the quick wit and lightning-fast reflexes, becomes the epitome of a true hero. He dives headfirst into the treacherous realms of the Further, ready to take on a horde of demons. I mean, who needs a cape when you got such an audacious bravery? He's like an Amazon fly, buzzing through the underworld, fearless and determined. And guess what? He does the impossible. He brings his son back from the dead. That's right. Love triumphs over all, even in the face of supernatural chaos. It's a heartening reminder that the strongest power of all is the power of a parent's love. In the midst of their joyous reunion, the Lambert family gathers in the warm and inviting kitchen. Laughter fills the air as Renee, Dalton, and Lorraine share tales of their recent adventure. Meanwhile, Elise and Josh prepare to wrap up the long night, exchanging photographs from Josh's childhood. But as Elise takes the picture from his hands, an eerie sensation washes over her, triggering her keen instincts. In a daring move, she captures a snapshot of Josh, unknowingly capturing more than just a mere image. Suddenly, Josh's demeanor shifts dramatically, and he becomes angry. His outburst echoes throughout the house as he screams about his aversion to being photographed. Before anyone can react, he lunges at Elise with a ferocity that chills the bones. And in a horrifying twist of fate, Elise's life is snuffed out by Josh's hands, leaving Renee frozen with disbelief. The house is now a silent witness to a tragedy that shatters their newfound happiness. Her eyes scan the room, desperately seeking a clue, when they fall upon Elise's camera. Trembling fingers reach out, and as she peeks through the lens, a chilling revelation takes hold. Staring back at her is the image of a shadowy old woman. A cold shiver races down her spine as she sees Josh's hand, weathered and dirty, bearing an uncanny resemblance to the old woman's, a haunting sign of possession. Just as fear wraps its icy fingers around her heart, Josh's hand lands on Renee's shoulder, his voice whispering in her ear, "Renee, I'm right here." Yeah, as if that'll suddenly calm her down. She looks back without knowing what's next. What is this malevolent presence, and why is it there? What can it gain from the hapless Lamberts? The answers to such questions can only be assumed, but at a practical level, the reason is to spook people, look horrifying, and be a headache. But if you were Renee or Josh, what would you do? Leave your comments down below. Booyah!